Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 341 of the Mark and Me podcast. As always, I'm your host Mark. Now, today's episode, for me personally, is extremely special. I feel like the kid who had that Panini football sticker album at school and needed that last one to fill, or a shiny that everyone was trying to get. As you know, I'm a huge fan of the band Empire State Bastard. It's been my mission over the last sort of 6 months to get all the members of the band on the podcast. It all started on episode 300 when I was lucky enough to sit down with the man himself, Simon Neil. Following that, I had Dave Lombardo. Only recently, I had Naomi. And now, as I sit here, I can tick off that final one. Today's episode, I'm joined by the amazing, the genius, the one and only Mike Vennart. On today's episode, obviously we talk all about Empire State Bastard, the band that brought me the album of the year for last year. They are this supergroup of just unbelievable, huge riffs, amazing metal, and just an incredible band. But not only that, the band is full of the nicest people in the industry. They are such likeable people, down to earth, no egos, no arrogance, and they're just absolutely fucking awesome at what they do. Not only that, we get to talk all about one of the best bands in the history of music for me, Oceansize. We also get to talk about his life and times with the amazing Biffy Clyro. It goes without saying, you know now by listening to Mark and Me, they're one of my favourite bands ever. And we get to talk about so much more. And that interview will be coming up in just a couple of minutes' time. But, as always, I always like to use the intro for each and every episode of Mark and Me to basically touch base and talk about my last episode. So I was joined by Joe Taylor, the frontman from another amazing band, Knuckle Puck. A huge thanks to everyone that took the time to listen to this interview. The numbers were great, and a massive thanks yet again. If you're sitting there now, ready to listen to this interview with Mike Vennart, I do also have it on YouTube, so if you prefer to watch it and see us interacting on video, it's up there right now, and all you need to do is go on YouTube and search Mark and Me podcast. On there as well, there's my interview with Dave, Simon and Naomi, so go and check it out. But if you're old school and like me, love listening to podcasts, stick around now because it's time for me and Mike. So here's me and Mike talking all things music. So Mike, thanks for joining me today on the Mark and Me podcast.
My absolute pleasure, Mark. Thanks for having me.
As you know, Mike, now you are the final member of Empire State Bastard to come on the podcast. All four are in place. It feels like an Infinity Stone on a gauntlet or a Panini sticker album, but you are the final piece to the puzzle.
You've completed it. You've completed Empire State Bastard.
What do I do now? Do I give up? Do I retire?
I don't know. Maybe what other sort of heavy metal supergroup can you go after? Nail Bomb? They split up, right? I don't know.
I have no idea. But what I love to do with all guests that come on the show, I've had Anthony Hopkins, Mads Mikkelsen, Kevin Smith, Aubrey Plaza, all different people from all different walks of life, but they always get the same question. And what I'm really intrigued with you, Mike, is when you were growing up, can you remember that first album that you may have bought or was given that made you fucking love music?
Well, first of all, I'd forgotten about this until relatively recently, and it was my mum that reminded me that the first vinyl record that I requested, was, so I'm quite old, it was in 1981, and it was the vinyl 12-inch full album of the royal wedding between Charles and Diana.
Fuck. I've done 330 episodes and no one said that.
No, I should fucking hope not. And I remember, because I just loved the picture on the cover, and I think I was sort of mildly obsessed with Princess Di back then because she was like a pop star in a
Yep.
way. She was everywhere, and I was really struck with her at 5 years old, 4 years old, whatever. And so I decided that I had to have this big picture, not realizing that it was a record, and the record was, of course, deathly boring. So that was it. But the first album that fucking absolutely changed everything beyond all recognition will have been Paranoid by Black Sabbath because
Wow.
I remember, well, I was into Status Quo. I had an older brother. He was like 4 years older than me, and he was into the heavy stuff, and I kind of wanted to be cool and rebellious like him. So him and all his mates were into Status Quo. Status Quo, you've got to remember, in like 1982 to 1985 were the biggest rock band in the country. They were fucking huge.
People forget that.
They were cool. There's no two ways about it. That they were the shit. So I got into them at like age 7, but I didn't actually have a favorite Quo album. I just liked Quo.
Yeah.
And then Live Aid was on, and Black Sabbath played, and I already liked Ozzy. I thought he was fucking badass. But then, so I'd had a couple of Ozzy records and I loved it, but I never checked out this Black Sabbath thing. And then suddenly, my cousin April, she was like, "Oh, I've got a Black Sabbath record," so she taped me Paranoid, and that was it for my birthday. Then I got a box set of the first 6 Black Sabbath albums, and when you've got that in your life, and fucking last night I listened to Black Sabbath. I don't tire of them. Again, it's kind of like a happy place, a they're my comfort viewing. I just fucking adore them so much. I don't know what it is. It's maybe the sort of friction between them. Those records have got a lot of mistakes on. They're a bit ropey. You can tell they were made quite quickly, but it's a band at the absolute height of their powers, and that kind of set me up to do everything really. That it was just a band that I just kept returning to and reeling myself back to my roots and going, this is still the best, and I was only, I guess, like 7 when I got into Ozzy, and then 9 when I got those Black Sabbath albums.
I mean, some of the best foundations ever that are still with you now. And I was lucky enough to see Cancer Bats doing Bat Sabbath.
Yeah, I heard they've been doing that. Fuck,
it's fucking great. If you get a chance to see it at any festival or anything, it works.
Well, just after lockdown, I was living in Todmorden at the time, and there's this incredible pub over the road called the Golden Lion, which is the greatest pub on the planet. And always having crazy like psychedelic music on. It's really great. So for the 50th anniversary of Paranoid, I formed a little trio, and we just played that whole album front to back. And the thing is as well, we did rehearse it, but we realized we didn't need to rehearse it because we knew it like the back of our hands. That record, it's just so perfect. It's fucking bone dry, and I just and every time I hear it, I hear some little discrepancy that I didn't notice before. Ozzy's voice is so dark and scared sounding, but it's sort of dripping with this fucking menace. It's so unique. They're up there with the Beatles for me. I'm a huge Beatles fan. I just love them so much. Yeah, there you go.
What about live music? Because it changes, doesn't it, when you go and see a band live for the first time? I don't know if Black Sabbath were one of your first early ones, but can you remember maybe your first gig that blew your mind and made you think, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
Yeah, well, in 1984, my ma and dad took me to see Status Quo.
Oh, wow.
And it was fucking pulverizingly loud. I was too young to be able to handle it, quite honestly. And I was up on the balcony. I remember my brother just fucking headbanging, and I was like, just a little bit spooked out. It was a bit too much for me. But I just remember seeing, I was really taking Rick Parfitt. He just always seemed to be playing so fucking hard. His picking hand was so heavy, and he was always just pouring with sweat with this incredible mane of blonde hair. And I was just like, I want to be that guy, just. And as a matter of fact, that was Status Quo's final, well, supposedly farewell tour in 1984. And then I went to see that they reformed the original lineup in 2014, maybe. And I went to see them with my brother again. And they were every bit as fucking loud as I remember them being. It was like, holy shit. Again, we were on the balcony. It was like, it is so fucking loud in here, man. You know, it's just brilliant. Absolutely magical band. You know, their 70s output, the live album is just fucking dynamite. I love it.
So is guitar your kind of first instrument you picked up from watching bands like Sabbath and Status
Yeah,
Quo and stuff? Were you like, I just want to play guitar and be like those guys?
yeah, I wasn't a very sociable kid. I wasn't very. I was like fucking sooty. I would just like tap my mum on the shoulder and whisper in her ear. I would never talk to anyone. Um, but the guitar, I think they realised quite quickly, my folks, that it was legit. It wasn't just going to be another fad like I was getting into fucking skateboarding or something.
Yeah,
I think they could tell that, I just wanted to do that, and that. So they got me like a really cheap piece of shit 25 quid K guitar. Right, I'm left-handed, but I was playing right-handed guitars for a while, and I think, yeah, because I was just, that's all I did, was just in my room learning Black Sabbath songs just on my own on one string, and I think they realized, yeah, he seems really fucking into this thing.
that's amazing because a lot of people, I mean, were you turning around at that point to your parents saying, I want to be a rock star, I want to be.
Well, probably. I don't really
Yeah,
remember. I think that they were probably encouraging that kind of chat anyway. It's like.
that's great. Some parents would be like, son, you need to get a real job, stop being
Not
a
at
fucking
all.
dreamer.
Not at all. When I left university, because I'd been studying music, I left uni, and then just in order to, pay rent, I had to start working in a fucking bank and doing all these shitty jobs. And my mother was mortified. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? You've got to get out there. But it was like, well, just didn't know where to look. I didn't know. I didn't have that kind of infrastructure that I could, just seek out at the drop of a hat. That came after, really.
So did you do the whole thing during college and school of like, the bands, like a covers band or an original
Yeah,
band that was doing the Battle of the Bands route and all the usual stuff that most people do?
all that shit. When I was at college, well, when I was at school, I ended up joining a band with a couple of dudes who were like 10, 12 years older than me. Because when I was sort of 12, 13, there was nobody was into anything. Nobody was into metal, that's for sure.
No.
So, I not only did I not have any friends, I certainly didn't have anybody I could play with. Everybody was into football and
Fucking
fucking
rugby and
wet, wet,
cricket.
wet and shit like
Yeah.
that. So I,
Wet, wet, wet.
quite bizarrely, I'd done work experience at a guitar shop in Leeds, and the week after I'd been there, these two guys from a band who'd been signed to RCA, they'd had a shit experience in the industry. They decided they were going to form a new band. And they walk into this shop in Leeds saying to the guy, we're looking for a guitar player. Can you recommend anyone? It's like, best thing we've seen is this fucking 13-year-old kid who was working here last year. It was fucking brilliant. So they auditioned me, took me down their basement, played a couple of fucking Dave Lee Roth numbers, and I was in a band.
That's
Um,
amazing.
and so that was it. But that fell apart quite quick. And then I did covers bands, just for the experience. I used to love it, going out again, playing Van Halen and fucking just anything, top 20 rock and roll heavy metal numbers. And then I went to uni and formed my own band. And when I went to uni, that's when I decided to tell everybody I were a singer. Because I was never a singer. I was like a closet singer. Only I would know, because I'm from quite a cynical place, Mark. And you can't, if you come out and just start telling everybody you're a singer, then that's a step too far.
Yeah.
You probably need taking down a peg or two. But when I moved to Manchester, I just started telling everybody that I was a singer, and so I joined loads of bands.
Did you find it quite hard? Because if you were this sort of sooty character as a kid and, didn't have lots of friends and stuff, to become a singer and a front man, were you like, oh, fuck, like I'm gonna have to really try and get some extra confidence or wear a mask to try and look fucking
Yeah,
like I'm into this right now?
yeah. I think I wasn't necessarily a very nice person at school, because because I had long hair and all that, I was kind of made to feel like an outcast. So I thought, well, if I'm going to be made to feel like an outcast, I'll behave like a fucking outcast. And so I just decided everybody was full of shit and nobody fucking gets what I'm into. So I've got nothing here, you know.
Yeah.
Then when I went to college, I found loads of people who were exactly like me and into all exactly the same stuff. So I went too far the other way, got
You're
too
like, where have you been all my life?
and exactly, yeah. And I was too distracted and too excitable and too giddy. And then I kind of settled down when I got to uni and again studying music and just met the people who would be in my band and in my life to this day, really.
That's awesome. And I suppose, was that the bit when it became a reality that maybe you could take a kind of a road to make this a career and a job that you wouldn't then have to go and work in a fucking bank and all the other shit?
Well, I was doing. I left uni and I did a few sort of really shitty jobs that every single one of them I got fired from because as hard as I tried, I was A, no good at the job,
Yeah.
but B, they could tell that my heart was not in it and that I didn't actually give a fuck. No matter how hard I tried to exude this air of dedication and responsibility, they knew that I hated the job
They could see the fakeness.
and that I was desperate to get out.
Yeah.
So during that time, I formed Oceansize with some of the lads from uni and college. And, you know, I did a couple of years. Maybe I was on the dole as well as doing Oceansize. And then we got signed after about 4 years of going at it, you know. But I, you know, there was never any choice. I was one way or the other, it was going to happen. I was very lucky that I got into a band that was that fucking good because I didn't necessarily come in and go, ta-da, I'm the star of the show. I know how to do everything. We're going to play my songs. That's not what happened at all. We wrote the songs between us. I didn't have the confidence or the ability to write a song that would have been any good at that point. So I was fortunate that the rest of the band was so fucking unbelievably talented that we were able to make stuff that I think still stands up, really.
It does. It's unbelievable.
Thank you.
Did you have any expectations or kind of like, I don't want to say targets because that sounds like a fucking corporate word, but like realistic goals as a band? Because you guys blew up. I remember there was this, when I was at uni, there was Oceansize, Vex Red, My Vitriol, but there was these group of bands that I would see, Idlewild, Head is for Heroes, 100 Reasons, and there's this really influx of great bands all coming through, Areogram, Biffy Clyro, and it was just a great time.
Yeah.
And I remember going in and queuing up for your album and just being like, it's such a fucking great time for British music.
It was. There was quite the scene going on at that point, you know, and spearheaded, to my mind, by Biffy, who were very much the sort of dark horse of the scene because everybody loved them, but no one could have imagined how far they'd go. I remember, you know, getting Vertigo of Bliss before it came out because we shared a producer, and I was like, holy fuck, this record is a masterpiece, but it's a shame it's never going to catch on. This is too good for the masses. They won't take to it. And then I saw them play about a month later, and the place was going fucking bananas. I was like, wow, I've really underestimated the fucking the musical taste of an entire fucking generation here, because this is really catching on. And I was like, fuck, man, maybe there is hope for us all, you know. But Oceansize, we didn't really, I guess in terms of ambition, we wanted to get to the point where, you know, maybe we could headline the London Astoria.
Yeah.
Which would have been like 1,800 people. We never got that big. Yeah. But it was just to sustain, you know, like my sort of inbuilt despondent nature meant that when we got signed, I was like, well, this ain't going to last. They're going to realize we can't write any fucking songs and we're going to get dropped. And, you know, Beggars Banquet really threw a lot of money at us. And it took it went okay. We plateaued quite quickly, but we were able to make a living out of it for a good long while there.
I
Um,
always look at you guys and Ruben as kind of those bands that A Million Dead, those three bands that should have been bigger if it had been a different time, maybe 5 years later, or even now. It
yeah.
would be a different story because of streaming and every fucker in the world being able to access your music. But I feel like you were always on this uphill battle. And I always remember watching early Ruben gigs and you guys and thinking, why is this not busier? Why is this not a fucking academy instead of a small academy number two? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I know. I think that there's sometimes the stars just don't align, and in a lot of respects, I know what it means to have more pressure on you, and the Oceansize days by the third album, I realized that I really loved it, and I loved it too much, and it was quite not a crutch, but it was an obsession, and it was starting to sort of consume me.
yeah,
That I just wanted. I utilized every minute of every day thinking about the band, what we could do with the band, what we should be doing, what we could do, and slowly but surely it started to drive me fucking insane that I was so distracted. I couldn't have a regular conversation because all I could think about was the band. I just loved it too much. And I realize now, playing for Biffy as I have been doing for, wow, 14 years now.
is it that long?
Um,
Fucking hell.
it is, that kind of pressure cooker thing, I'm really not made for that. I get the best of both worlds. I get to just fucking play the gigs, have a great time, but not have to worry about the major decisions.
Yeah.
Because quite honestly, I'm not really certain of anything in my life. I don't know the answer to anything, and I'd much rather somebody else make the big important decisions because shit goes wrong all the way up. So, I think that I feel that Oceansize and similarly what I do now is exactly the kind of level that I could handle.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Do you? And I know I see it on your Instagram sometimes comments, and you know talked about a re-release of vinyl and stuff like that. People are obsessed with having those classic albums again and not paying eBay prices. Have you ever had the conversation with the guys about doing because there's obviously anniversaries and stuff. You see bands that are reforming now and coming back and doing anniversary shows. Is there anything in the works, or could there be, or is it that's a closed book and you're happy with the ending?
The records are coming back in print.
Yeah.
We just signed the second two albums to K-Scope, so some of that's going to start coming out.
Nice.
I'm not actually allowed to say when the first thing's coming out. I've just discovered, so I better.
Yep.
That tight. But yeah, K-Scope are all about doing big, elaborate reissues. So Frames and Self-Preserved Records will come out with hopefully a bunch of extra stuff. I know specifically the last Oceansize record, there's a fucking mountain of stuff. So hopefully that will all come out. But in terms of gigs, I'd be up for it. I think that in a Moss, I think it's easy to look at these things pragmatically and say that, well, no, the money isn't there, and obviously I can't afford to do anything for free, especially last year. But I think that Oceansize is something. Being as I was essentially the poetry of the band.
Yeah.
I wrote the words. It's kind of in my nature to want this ever so slightly romanticized bow on top of the package where we go, well, we've earned a fucking lap of honor. Let's do it. And let's all be mates again, because we're not really mates. A lot of the band split into two factions, and one side fucking hates the other. There's been, without going too deep into it, Mark, the end of that band was absolutely the most traumatic thing I've ever fucking been through, and I've been through some right shit.
I kind of wanted to avoid that because I don't want to bring back fucking scars for you. It's not fair.
I'm quite over it now. I'm quite over it.
Yeah,
But it took a long time. It was
yeah,
really, really awful. And I think that, yeah, in an ideal world, it'd be easy to go, fuck it, let's just go do it, and we'll make good on what went wrong. Truth is, Steve DeRose is retired. He
yeah,
just got worn down. He just had enough of shitty touring conditions and living like a fucking. I don't know. It's not fun at that level. It's very
no,
hard, nutritionally, sleeping conditions, all this stuff. It's fucking grim. And I don't know about Mark Heron. I think I'm hearing that he's retired as well, but don't quote me on that. I wouldn't want to speak for him. But I don't hear from him, and
no.
yeah, it's
It's
probably
sad, isn't it, when you talk so highly about how much it meant that it kind of made you go a bit insane with how obsessed you were and this love
yeah.
and
Well,
absolute
I just needed it
admiration.
to work. I wanted us to be the best, and I knew that we were fucking special. I guess part of the problem, Mark, is that as we got more incrementally, we got signed.
Yeah,
I thought that that would cure a lot of our confidence issues. It didn't. We suddenly came into a bunch of fucking money, and I thought that would. We sold a song to to Orange mobile phones. They bought the rights to a song, but
yeah,
to use on an advertising campaign, and that fucking brought in an absolute fortune. And I thought that that would cure our ills, that we could all just be proud of each other and go, we fucking made it. We're okay. We're going to be all right. It didn't. It just got worse and worse and worse. So it was just this perpetual thing of how to make it fucking work. And by that last album, it's recognizing it is never going to work. It doesn't
yeah.
matter. And it's like how much more successful you could possibly be, knowing this will always be a problem.
That must
Uh,
be really fucking tough, man, to know that, I don't know, like you just can't make it any better, even though you want to.
no, and this is it. It's like I'm sure that I wasn't necessarily the easiest person to get along with. I've got quite a temper. I can be quite stubborn, but I still really give a fuck what my friends think about me. And other people in that band didn't give a fuck. They just
No,
it was like psychological battery. It's like I used to think that narcissism was just somebody who like looking at themselves in the mirror and thinking you were fucking gorgeous. It's a far more insidious and sinister and fucking evil condition, and that's why this band
yeah.
is not together anymore.
So I think that's enough to know that it wouldn't work, and maybe just let it be that and not try and make anything
Yeah,
more.
I'll say Arctangent are the people who keep coming in and offering money for us to reform. And frankly, that's the only place that could hold a sufficient welcome for us.
I can see it as well. They've just
I
announced
know,
Mogwai on the poster and this year,
yeah,
and I
but
just thought, God, I can imagine you there in the middle of that headline on a Saturday. I
no
fucking
other festival would do that for us. So
no.
um, it's just at this point, it's there's not enough money to
Now I've
even
done Empire
consider
State
it.
Bastard, should I do all of you guys individually and then put you all
Yeah.
back together
Hey,
like a
do it, man.
that can be
You
my
know.
next project? I'll just take 5%. That's fair, and a
Yeah,
guest list
hey,
pass.
that's a good finder's fee, man. Off he goes into the sunset.
So that all ends, and I didn't realize I told Simon Biffy Clyro is the band I've seen the most. I've seen you 61 times now in concert.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
I was
god.
there when the very first EP. I've still got it on CD. I saw Marmaduke Duke. I've seen them supporting Headers for Heroes for £3 in London. I've been to
Wow.
all the Unplugged, everything. So I must have seen you for at least half of that if you joined, that long ago. And I never know the story. I've never asked Simon. I never know the story about how it actually became. Do you just want to join the band and play live and have fucking the time of your life all around the world?
It's this has been quite a constant in my life, and this is one of the first times I realized This is what you've got to do. If you want something and you think you can do it, just fucking ask.
Yeah.
It'll probably work out. So in 2007, I'd been mates with them for like 5 years at that point. You know, we were signed to Beggars together. We toured together, fucking partied a lot together. I loved them so much that I felt like they made me a better person. They made me the person that I wanted to be because they're just such fucking good crack.
Yeah.
Great chat. They're not, when I say they're not cool, I mean that in the best way possible. They're not trying to be.
They're not like being Hollywood, are they? They're not these fucking
and they're not trying to be pop stars. There's no bullshit about them. They're just wee fucking dafties, and I love them. So I guess it was like Puzzle was just coming out. It was in the bag, and I loved that. But it wasn't out. And I'd read an interview where Simon was saying, yeah, we're thinking, you know, if it gets big enough, we'll probably take on another guitar player. I was like, what? Now, I was like, I didn't want them to get another guitar player because one of the many things that I loved about them is that they were a three-piece.
That's what it was. It was, how does Simon sing and play stuff like fucking Jaggedy Snake on his own? Yeah, fucking hell.
And they sounded fucking enormous. I didn't want that to happen either, but I was like, well, if they're going to get another guitarist, it's fucking going to be me. And if I see them on stage with somebody else, I'm not going to like it.
No.
So I just emailed them saying, if you're going to do this, then please consider me because nobody's going to do it better than I do. I know this fucking band inside out and I'll do it fucking right. Don't you worry about that. And then that was 2007. I did a few things with them, like little guest spots playing on the odd song here and there. And then that was like Leeds and Reading and fucking Tea in the Park, stuff like that. And then, sure enough, 2009, I got the call and I started in April 2010.
What's
and
it like
came at the right time because Oceansize was really getting so difficult. So I needed that in my life to just keep me fucking sane. And it's been magical. All I did was ask, and it came true.
It's a funny one. I can't compare it that I'll now get a 14-year career in a touring band that are now one of the biggest bands in the world. But when I saw Simon at 2000 Trees this year, he's always been the one guest I've wanted for like the podcast. I've had a list of all my favorite people. He was always the number one, but I wanted it to be the right time. And I just asked him. I just walked up and said, look, I'm a fucking huge fan. I'm not a fanboy. I'm a huge fan. And I do a podcast. I've had all these bands on, Incubus and this band and that band. And I just want you to come on for episode 300. And he was like, I'd fucking love to. And I was like, oh, I thought I had to go through every agent and manager and PR manager. And he was just like, it'd be a fucking honor. And I was like, there we go. It was that simple.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, there's a real magical thing happening at 2000 Trees and Arc Tangent, that particularly 2000 Trees, where as we were driving in, I said, you do realize that this is fucking Biffy Fest. You know, everybody here has got fucking time for you, you know, and I think, and sure enough, the little chaps on the door all day did not stop. Everybody just wanted to say hello to Cy and just fucking people that he'd not seen in years and years and years. It was great for him. He really loved it. So I think that just having that, you know, thing of I can go up and say hello to Simon, I think it's great for him and it's great for everybody, you know.
So obviously there's no point in talking about all your years in Biffy because it's just an absolute dream, isn't it? If I'd said to you, you'll be doing the Unplugged set all across the world and playing in Paris and headlining Download and all, it must have been like you would never have even imagined that, never mind dreaming it.
No, look, man, like fucking my dreams have come true several times with this band, you know. My favourite festival on the planet is Glastonbury, and the day we played that, was it Saturday night or Sunday? And we were on before Ed Sheeran was headlining, but I don't count that at all.
No.
And we, you know, just looking out and knowing the things that I've seen in that field and the drugs that I've taken and the good times that I've had just in that fucking field and seeing right to the back, right to where the tents are. The place is absolutely fucking packed. It was a gloriously sunny day, and I was just like, "This is it.
Yeah.
This is just it now." Um, and it wasn't until I guess ESB came along that I was like, "Wow, there are other dreams left to dream." Because I was like, I've fucking done all of it. It's quite tough to think up new shit.
I was going to say, like, how do you top that? But then Empire State Bastard is such a more personal project for you, isn't it? It's not you got asked to join; it's your baby.
Yeah, yeah. I'd sort of me and Simon had always had hankerings to make our own thing, and it be our fucking dream metal band that nobody had ever made before. It's like, and it was like one day we'll do it, but it took over a decade. And so when I finally got my arse in gear and made the right stuff, put the right ingredients together to make the right fucking soup, and Simon was like, "Oh, thank fuck, this is it. This is it. I get it. Let's go." And then, of course, as I was saying before, it's like, who are we going to get to play drums?
Just ask.
I'd programmed it all to sound like Dave Lombardo. I was like, who do we know who plays like Dave Lombardo? Let's just fucking ask him.
Yep.
And that's just the way of the world. People call it nepotism, but it's not really nepotism if you don't know the guy.
Bravery. Pure bravery and having the balls, I think. Surely when you hit that send, because you emailed him, didn't you, for his wife, and she goes through it and filters it out, because I'm sure he gets a lot of crap.
He does.
But I think she said to him, I think he told me, you need to listen to this one. Like, I know you're busy, I know you got Mr. Bungle, you got this, you got that, you're fucking mentally busy, but this one deserves your time. And like, just to get through that golden gate must have been like, he's fucking listened.
I know. It was, I still can't believe it. We were texting each other yesterday. It's hard. I'm sure he won't mind me saying, because obviously, Dave's a renowned fucking good soul. I think everybody knows anything about him, and he's a sort of centrifugal force for fucking good vibes. And you've only got to look at his social media.
Yeah.
Any story about him, everybody fucking is just willing him to be great. And everybody, if he does something that people are like, yeah, I'm not feeling this one, Dave, they'll probably be it's like, well, it doesn't matter, he'll have another record out fucking in 6 months and it'll be great. He's just a fucking good dude. When we were on the bus, I was just, it was in the middle of the night, we were all having a few beers and stuff, and we were on our way to Birmingham, and Dave's on the phone, and he's going, Mike, and he shows me his phone, and he's talking to fucking Bill Ward. And my fucking blood ran cold. I was just like, there's going to be a fucking black hole in a minute. This is too, I can't, my head was just breaking in two, like, and I could just hear Bill on the phone. I'm like, no way, no fucking way is this happening. But yeah, just a fucking, it's one of those things, you can be really, 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 really good. But if you're a fucking arsehole, you won't get the gigs.
No.
Nobody will want to be in a band with you. And, you can read into that whatever you want. But Dave's just fucking, he's just the perfect fucking gent. He's an example to us all. He really is.
He carries himself so well on social media. His projects he's in, he never says anything bad about the past, even though other band members he's worked with are all just arseholes and slagging people off, and he just keeps himself pure from it. And I love the fact that he kind of is doing it because he wants to.
Yeah.
It's not he doesn't need the money. He's not like,
I love that he's like he's a meme now. His quote in the Dave Grohl movie where he just goes, "No, never give up." Never give up. And I'm like, fuck, I want that tattooed. I want a picture of Dave's face saying that
Get
tattooed
him to write it.
on the back of my hand. That's a good, fuck, I'm going to do that, man.
Mate, I've got Simon's writing on my arm because I was
Have
like,
you,
if they're
what was
doing,
one of the lyrics?
I literally just got him to sign my arm because I just thought his
Oh,
signature's fucking great because it's just nice.
I'm sure that's a Satanist thing, writing your name backwards. I'm sure
I
that's
know, and it's S as
mark
well.
of
It's
the
like
devil.
Satan, you know. But what was interesting about you guys is I had no idea what you guys were going to be like. So the name had been going around for a while. It then I think some news outlets and you signed to Roadrunner, and people were starting to say there's a song. I think it was Daniel Picard played your first song, and then you were playing Download. And I remember going into the tent thinking, is this going to be like a Biffy band? Is it going to be Oceansize? Is it going to be Slayer? Is it going to be some fucking proggy random shit? Like, what is going to go on when all these minds and personalities and musicianship gels? And I don't believe even at that gig then you all knew exactly what was going to happen because it felt like the start of something fucking special. But the transition that I saw from that to 2000 Trees to Art Tangent was huge, dude. Like, you all gelled more each time.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, the other festivals you had a different drummer, but then when I saw you in Birmingham with Naomi and everything, it was like a band that had been going 10 years. You were all fixed in. Watching Naomi and Dave just fucking locked in as a rhythm section. You just in your own world. Like, I could have come up to you and told you won the lottery. You wouldn't even look at me. You were just in your own place. And it was fucking magical to sit and watch, dude. Like, it was like, look how far they've come. And that's not saying the first gig was shit. It wasn't. But it was just, they found each other now and they know what this is.
Yeah, I think. Well, I really appreciate you saying that because it definitely felt like, we were under rehearsed for a long time. I just thought, we'll just show up, the songs go how they go, and we'll just get it. But it didn't quite work out like that. It was fucking fraught. But specifically that Birmingham gig, that was the best we ever played. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
necessarily the best gig for the audience, but we all came away going, that is the benchmark of it's like now we're a band.
Yeah.
Um, it just felt
Something clicked. I just
uh,
watched you all and there was no fuck ups, there was no,
no, we
or
were
if there was,
pristine
you
that
hid it
night.
well, but it was like the perfect set. And I was like, how many main bands do you go and see where their headline slots like 50 minutes, and it flew by. And I was like, oh man, it just, everything, the sound, everything, the PA, the vocals, it just all sounded fucking perfect. And I was like,
Um,
that was
no,
amazing.
it just felt, sometimes it just feels fucking transcendental, and there's
Yeah.
certain moments where you're like, I am in the greatest band of all time. This is happening right now, and I really, again, in any given band, I feel like I am the most sentimental, the most. My nerves are sort of probably more raw than anybody's, but I always, and especially with Biffy, that I have time on stage to take it in, and I always make sure that I do, especially like at an outdoor show
Yeah.
where you can just for a moment let everything go into slow mo, be meditative with it, feel the breeze blowing, just look out and just let everything freeze for a moment. And I'm quite I really enjoy doing that every single night, to be honest. Just
I
like
bet some people don't, and I bet some bands are just so in the right. This is the motions. We're going to get in, sound check, go on stage, perform. Right, brilliant. Next one.
yeah.
You don't get that chance to step back and reflect, especially if you're, front man. You got to remember every lyric and talk to the crowd in
Yeah,
between
yeah.
songs.
I don't
So
think Simon will mind me saying Simon is so in the moment. He's just absolutely pinpoint precision.
yeah,
Um, he's just fucking on fire when he's on stage, and sometimes I wonder if he just has a minute to. I guess he doesn't because he's playing and singing the whole
yeah.
fucking time, whereas I'm not. I have plenty of
So that's
chances where
beautiful.
I
It's
just
like
sit
it's
there
like on
and
your
think,
wedding day when you get to take a step back and see what's actually happening instead of waiting for the photos.
oh, every night I get to watch the band and fucking love it. It's great.
Do you feel now pressure to write the second album? Because for me, and I've said this, and it's documented on a podcast. It was my album of the year last year. I
Oh, nice
truly
one.
think nothing else. I do a Skip the End podcast, which is a big movies, film, and TV podcast, and it's been very successful. It's had like 18 million downloads. But at the end of the year, we did a roundup of our films of the year and albums of the year, and yours was mine. I was like, it's raw, it's unpredictable, it's melodic. There's very slight moments I can hear Biffy Clyro, but then 10 seconds later, it's we're not fucking Biffy Clyro at all. And it's angry, and it's fucking. I love it, dude. Like, I don't know where you're going to take it next. I just think, how the fuck do you now even start to go, right, we need to top this?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was really hoping. Thank you very much, by the way.
No pressure, by the way, as well. Like,
I was really hoping to have it in the bag by
yeah,
now. Various things have got in the way, but when I have tried to write some stuff, I'm very mindful of it sounding, to quote Lars Ulrich, stock. I don't want it to sound like flat pack metal,
yeah,
fucking metal by numbers. There's a few things. Naomi's sent some fucking brilliant stuff. She's writing as well. Just gonna try a couple of different angles on this one. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know either, but there's a lot of shit being thrown at the wall. There's a lot of stuff. We'll just see. And that's what happened last time in a lot of ways, that I just sent so much fucking material to Simon, just so many, like 5 minutes of just fucking riff, and just let him curate it.
yeah.
Let him decide what dresses his voice well, and what he would feel comfortable standing in the middle of the stage and fucking dishing up. It's kind of up to him.
It's exciting though. I mean, there's pressure, but at the same time, if it worked first time round, then just keep sending those ideas to Simon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a strange, like, you never want to repeat yourself, but with metal, it's dead easy to repeat yourself.
Yeah.
So I don't.
But as musicians, all of you, and that's something that's in your blood, especially, and there's more than ever, Simon's. You don't play it safe. You always evolve, and even if you're doing metal, you're going to evolve. Look at every album of Biffy; nothing sounds the same.
It really doesn't. No, it really doesn't. I think I have to remind myself that this is kind of the fun part, Mark. It's like the sort of tumultuous, sort of despondent terror of not knowing if anything's any good. It just makes it taste so much better when you take it out of the oven and it's fucking brilliant. That's the reward. So I'll get there. We will get there. Everybody's all booked up at the moment anyway, but yeah, hopefully it'd be nice to have some new things to jam on soon.
When you say you booked up, you've got a fucking huge tour with Sleep Token in America, which when I saw that poster, I thought, has some fan made that up? Like, that's fucking huge.
Every time I look at that list of dates, it gets bigger.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. It's gonna be fucking amazing. It's starting to become real now that I'm going to America for a month, to be honest. Every time I go to America, Mark, I kind of feel like make the most of this, because you never know when you might never ever get back here again. Because touring America is so fucking expensive. It's absurd.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody does it. Never mind somebody who's signed to a fucking major label, as I am, unbelievably. I can't wait. It's going to be incredible. Sleep Token, according to everybody I know, are fucking sound dudes. So I can't wait to meet them. I guess
have you seen them live yet?
With them. Say again?
Have you seen them live yet?
I've never seen them. No.
So I saw them in Birmingham last year, which blows my mind because this morning I bought tickets to see them at Birmingham Arena.
Wow.
So in a year they've gone from the O2 Academy to the Arena, and
Fuck yeah.
the
And I
pre-sale
think,
sold out in 4 minutes. So it's like, fuck me.
were they like an Arc Tangent band as well? They used to play there.
I think so, yeah. I think
I
it's the
mean,
third album that's just rocketed them, and now they've sold out America every day in
I
minutes. They
know. I
sold
mean,
out,
I've heard the stats about what venues they could have done in
yeah,
America, and it's like it's fucking insane. But you know, I'm made up that a band from the Arctangent scene, essentially, anybody who makes it from that is fucking all right by me, man. You know,
yeah,
so that's Arctangent is the perennial underdogs.
yeah.
You know, it's a scene all unto itself. And look, but fortunately, it's a scene whereby when somebody does get successful, nobody's gonna cry sellout. You know, everybody's just gonna be like, "Fucking go, boys! That's awesome." I can't wait, and like I say, I'm excited to meet these lads.
They're gonna blow your mind live.
Right,
It's so fucking well thought out, and the
right.
production and Wembley Arena selling out in 10 minutes. For 10,000 tickets, like they're just getting bigger and bigger. They're playing the O2 now. It's like fuck me,
Wow,
like future
brilliant.
download headliner.
Oh yeah, dead easy, man. And download needs a new headliner. It just fucking does, you know.
Yeah, I don't need to see Maiden again.
I mean, I need to see Maiden again.
But not again and again. I need, this year's
No,
nice. It's
again and
Queens of the Stone Age.
again. I'm a big Maiden fan for my
It'll
sins.
be amazing though to go on stage every night and kind of you're getting that crowd won over. That so everyone's bought a ticket for Sleep Token. There'll be some that have gone and in America that have booked for you, but to hopefully get some people walking away going, "Fuck me, that band were great. I'm going to buy their vinyl on the way out or a T-shirt
Hope
or
so, man. I'm again. You know, we were talking about there are no fucking dreams left to dream on this tour. We're going to be playing Radio City Music Hall and
that's
Red Rocks,
awesome."
and I'm like, fuck, man. I just never thought I'd ever get the chance to do that. It's going to be magic. And there's a couple of double dates here, and there. So get to spend some time. Toronto, Chicago, maybe I can't remember. I
Do you
can't
need a
wait.
guitar? Do you need a guitar tech like
I
that?
actually do need a guitar tech.
Well, you said all I have to do is ask. Can I come to America? That would be amazing. And I don't know how you do it, but as we're sitting here right now, you've even got a brand new solo album out, Forgiveness in the Grain. My
Correct.
brain is on it today, and your vinyl sold out straight away, which looked fucking sexy as hell. You did another pressing and it sold out.
Yeah.
When the fuck do you ever sleep, dude?
You know what? I'm not nearly as prolific as everybody thinks I am. I write a lot of stuff, but a lot of it's crap, so I don't finish it. So these are the only songs I've finished. There's a couple more, 2 or 3 more that I need to finish off because I do want to release them. But no, I'm really blessed, Mark, because like the response has been fucking amazing. I've only had one bad comment. Somebody said it sounded like shit jazz, which
Wow.
to me is a great compliment.
I was going to say
Anybody
that's not. I'd have that on a T-shirt. Shit,
Yeah, I
jazz.
know. Shit jazz. Fuck yeah, man. Cool.
10%.
I mean, like, again, I've probably got a reputation for being quite prickly because I've spent too much time on Twitter for a long time there, and that just turns you into a fucking moody prick.
I try and stay off it now. I saw. We're not going to go into this in detail, but I saw you getting very angry about. Is it the Elvana troop, the Nirvana? And I just thought
that's not where I thought this conversation was going.
No, I'm not going down the fight and the abuse in the street. I'm not going down that. I'm going down the Nirvana tribute with Elvis.
Yeah, it's a fucking breeding ground for.
Just run away from it. Just fucking stay off that platform.
I'm out, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everybody's been really lovely. It's
solo album's great, dude. Like fucking beautiful. Thanks. When I get paid, I'm getting the vinyl because I like the newer one better, the newer colours.
Oh, send us your address, Matt. I'll get you one. But we've not got them pressed yet. They're going to be. I do like a pre-order, so I don't.
Yeah.
I don't like order 2,000 copies and only sell 10 and then fucking can't move in the house.
At those sleep token gigs on the little side start.
Exactly. Do you want one of these?
Did you like Empire State Bastard? Well, listen to the guitarist.
Exactly. You might like these tales of white male anguish.
Is it not on the streaming platforms? Is that a conscious choice? Was it more trying to get
put it on
Bandcamp and everything else? And...
Yeah, it's on Bandcamp and you can stream it from there.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I'm putting it on streaming platforms straight away, then I'm giving it away for free.
Of course, yeah.
And I can't afford to do that. I just, I can't afford to work for free.
No, I get it.
Not for any, it's no great secret. I nearly fucking went bankrupt before. That's why I had to get this record out real fucking quick because I just didn't have anything coming in. But yeah, stream platforms. I mean, it'll never be on Spotify.
No,
because I just don't agree with their policy on fucking anything.
You'll get 6p from the 100,000 downloads. Like, oh, great, cheers! I'll buy a chomp.
The guy funding AI weapons and now refusing to pay anybody under 1,000 streams. Blah blah blah.
That's fucked up. I couldn't believe I saw that the other day. All those bands that I love that have got 500 plays and they're so happy, and it's like you're not even going to get any money for that. Even your £2 you're not getting.
Yeah, and even fucking paying millions for the Joe Rogan podcast so he can have absolute wankers like Alex Jones on and fucking else. You're like, really?
Get your
you fucking paid that guy? I can't get on. I can't get on with it. So fuck Spotify. I'm not going to do up for them.
Well, the old school vinyl seems to be very popular and everyone's loving that, so that can't be.
Yeah, well, again, it's a romanticized thing. I feel like if it's not on vinyl, I've not really made it. Is that a cat right there, man?
It's my little dog Florence, who always gets in on every fucking episode.
Hey, wee man. Oh, bless.
It's a girl. It's little Florence.
Sorry, I thought you said Lawrence, not Florence.
No, Florence. So she comes on every episode. It doesn't matter if it's been bloody Neil Marshall, Neil Blomkamp. She always gets a little cameo. So I thought we'd done it then, but I just saw decide that she wanted to come and say hello.
Bless.
My final question for you today, and I ask this to everybody, it makes it quite fun for the podcast to keep it as original as I can, is you get to choose the very last song that's played. So as our interview's all edited and ready for the world to listen to on Spotify and Amazon Music,
fuck off.
I can't press it onto vinyl. If I did, I would, but...
whatever song I pick's gotta be on Spotify?
No. This podcast will be on Spotify.
All right, okay.
Don't worry about that. You can have any fucking song you want, but any song by any band in the world, one choice.
All right, not just me.
I've done 327 interviews.
Mm-hmm.
One person picked their own music. That's it.
Oh, well, I can't do that then.
But from The Used, he picked his own track. And I was like, fair play, he's promoting an album. But everyone else was like, I want to pick this song by the Beatles, or I want to pick this B-side, or this music score, or anything.
Oh, God, you're putting me on the spot there, aren't you?
Simon chose Katie Musgraves.
Did he?
Yeah, which I was surprised by, but a really nice acoustic, folky, beautiful 3-minute acoustic love song. So
nightmare. Okay, you're gonna have to cut this bit out while I find something.
I always have to. Some people have took 20 minutes and emailed me, then text me, and I'm like, no, dude, like one song. My heart thought when I was talking to you today, he's going to pick a Sabbath song. I thought.
That's the obvious one, isn't it? Here is what it is. It's going to be Grounded by Pavement.
Oh, I haven't heard Pavement for fucking ages.
Yeah. I have a Pavement tattoo. I have many all-time favourite bands. Yeah. They are one of them.
Didn't they play recently at a festival, or they are playing a festival in the UK? Yeah,
They did a UK tour. I went to see them 4 times.
Was it awesome?
They were fucking unbelievable. Better than they ever were in the 90s. Oh my God, I love them so much.
So why that song? Why is that one, do you think it came before any other?
I don't know. I mean, I have, there are some sort of God tier songs where you choose your moment to listen to them because you don't want to wear the magic out of them.
That's fair.
Grounded is only 3 chords. It's in a really fucking weird tuning. It's got these weird chimey, dissonant guitars. the lyrics. I don't know what the fuck it's about. It's so gently sung. And then this ripping fucking buzzsaw guitar comes in. The tempo sways around. It's sometimes swung, sometimes straight. It's I can see the fucking stars when there's a point in the golden section just as it hits the outro where my fucking heart skips a beat every single time.
I can't wait to listen to this after today's episode now, because I'll edit it in. I put the whole track in, not just a snippet, so I can then.
Good, right.
I'll have a whole fucking 6 weeks ahead of me now, just listening to Pavement again.
Yeah. They when they played their first UK show back, in first time in like 12, 13 years, they walked on and I just saw Steve Malkmus's hand go to a certain position on the guitar, and my heart stopped. I was like, and they started playing that song. And I was just like, my jaw was on the floor. I was crying my fucking eyes out. I was like, this is happening now. It's your band playing that fucking song. It's just pure magic to me. I love it.
I don't think I've done now this for 7 years. I don't think I've ever met anyone that's given me such a sincere but genuine and just beautiful response to why a song. Because some people are like, oh, I got married to it, lovely. My kid was born to it, lovely. But it's in your blood.
I ain't got any other interests, man.
No, but it's you. That song is you, and you got to hear it fucking live, and you knew by the positioning of his fingers with a power chord or a certain chord that he was going to start that with that song. And I don't know, I can't even imagine what the little hairs on your neck did that night. And
yeah, there are certain sometimes I'll dream that I'm still at certain gigs in my life. And one of them is Faith No More in 1993 at the Phoenix Festival. I still dream that I'm at that gig. And for many years, because Pavement don't exist for the most part, so many times I dream that I'm watching Pavement play Grounded, because it's my happy place,
Naomi told me actually that you guys did a record show store in America. And
right, yeah.
I think, I might be wrong, it was this or a festival around that date, and you met Mike Patton.
That's correct, yeah.
And she said it was your moment. She was like, oh, that's amazing. I've met, the singer of Faith No More. What a legend. But she just took a step back and it was your moment. And I'm like, I hope that all roads eventually lead to me getting Mike Patton on this podcast. I think it will happen, but I don't know how you even digested saying hello. Like,
where me and him are kind of in touch very occasionally. Yeah, it's a long story, but Oceansize supported Faith No More in 2009. Once again, we supported them because I asked if we could do it.
Wow.
And it came true. And since then, we've just stayed in touch. Fucking, yeah. A lot of love for that fucking guy. Without Angel Dust, I'm absolutely nothing. It's just the perfect album. And I can't imagine ever hearing a record that will ever fucking do to me what that record does every fucking time I put it on. I had it on last night. I was obviously in an old school night last night. Black Sabbath.
You were preparing for this podcast without knowing.
On, man. Yeah, he's response. He's just he's just the best fucking vocalist, and a great fucking map for what an artist should be.
Are you going to the UK Mr. Bungle shows?
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be fucking amazing, and they're playing Download.
I know. Yeah, I'm tempted to go to that just to see them, to be honest. But yeah,
some good times ahead, dude.
I know. Yeah, for real, man.
Thank you so much for your time today. We said before we started recording today that for some reason, I don't know why, 2 years ago you were meant to come on this podcast. Times were different. I think it was lockdown. I don't know what was going on, but it didn't happen. But I'm glad that it's happened now. So we've had more exciting and incredible life experiences to share.
For real, Mark. Thanks so much for having me.
It's a real honor to have you all on the podcast. But
I can't wait to see what they all said.
Well, I'm gonna have to edit it because they're like, "Oh, he's a dickhead. He sent us this demo, and this band were terrible, and we just did it."
Little prick.
Yeah, they just told us that he was going to get us a Sleep Token tour one day, so we went, "Oh, fuck it, yeah, we'll do it." But thank you, dude, and I know I'll see you guys soon. There'll be, I think Naomi was hinting that there's a couple of UK shows down the road, so
Yeah, that's maybe.
you'll be the last to know. But when you are, I'll come and grab a beer and say hello.
For real, Mark. Definitely do that.
So there it is. There's my interview with me and the absolute guitar god, Mike Vennart. Fuck me, the man is an absolute legend. It was an honour to speak to him. Go and check out his solo stuff. It's absolutely amazing. Go and buy the vinyl or a CD. Don't bloody stream it. Go and give the guy some money. He deserves it. He's a hard-working bastard and he deserves all the money out there that you can give him. Also, if you love Empire State Bastard, I urge you to go and check them out at this year's 2000 Trees. I think they're also doing a headline show in Scotland. They are absolutely phenomenal live, and honestly, if you live in America and you listen to this, they're just about to embark on the Sleep Token tour. Yep, that's right, they're supporting them on the whole US leg of this tour. It's going to be absolutely unbelievable, but I know that tickets are really hard to find. And if you've really enjoyed today's episode with Mike, please share it. You know the score by now. On Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, it literally is the click of a couple of buttons and really gets the name out there for Mark and me. I don't get any money from this podcast. It's done because I love you guys and I love doing it. So if you can, that share button means more to me than absolutely anything. And if you want to go that extra mile, I do have a Patreon account. This basically pays for the bills. It allows me to host the podcast on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. All that costs money. On YouTube as well. All these different things add up. So if you can support me, there's a link on markandme.com. But if you click that link, you can sign up for as little as £1 a month, which is absolutely fuck all. And for that, you get a welcome pack, which includes stickers, a badge, an exclusive episode just for you guys at home for Patreon specials, and so much more. Just before I go, I'd like to give a shout out to the sponsor of this podcast, Richer Sounds. If you're in the market for a record player, also a Sonos or a home cinema surround sound system or a brand new TV, go on richersounds.com or visit any of those stores. And a big thanks again for sponsoring Mark and me. Right, I'll be back in only a few days' time with another brand new episode. So until then, listen to Empire State Bastard, listen to Oceansize, listen to Vennart, he's fucking awesome, and I'll speak to you all very soon.
bridge